When the letter hit my porch, it landed with a thud so solid my dog Max actually growled at it like it might blow up and take out the mailbox with it. And you know what? I didn't blame him. Anything stamped with the HOA's logo, 3 smug little oak leaves, circled up like they're guarding a secret, always meant trouble. But even I wasn't prepared for this, a letter accusing me of altering regional airflow patterns. Yeah, that happened. I opened the envelope and had to double-check I hadn't been served by NASA. Seriously. It had diagrams, arrows swirling over my yard like a hurricane on meth. Dear Mr. Miller, it started our contracted environmental engineer has determined that your recent wall reinforcement has caused significant disruption to prevailing wind currents, resulting in property damage to multiple neighboring lots. I just stared. My so-called wall was a 6-foot-high concrete retaining panel, stuck behind the garden because last winter's storm wrecked the old fence. But apparently the HOA believed I'd figured out how to reprogram the wind. And then it got good. The association hereby demands $437,000 in community damages for erosion, microdraft distortion, and increased pollen turbulence. I actually had to sit down before I fell down. $10 million for a breeze. The signature at the bottom, Karen Lutz, HOA president, local crusader, and self-declared defender of property values, which she said the way preachers say the Lord's Prayer. I didn't even finish my coffee. I stomped down the street to Karen's, barely kept my cool. She opened the door before I knocked, arms crossed, like she'd been waiting for me. "Ah, Daniel, I assumed you'd come storming over," she said, smirking at her own pun. "Karen, you're telling me my wall changed the wind." I tried to keep my voice steady. "It's not about what you believe," she sniffed, switching to her HOA boardroom voice. "It's about what our environmental consultant found. You created a vortex effect." A vortex. Right. My alias are dying because of it, she added, like that made it science. "Karen, your alias are dying because you drowned them in enough pesticide to survive nuclear fallout." That hit a nerve. She straightened eyes like daggers. "You can cooperate and cover the cost, or we'll take legal action." I almost asked what law school gave her a meteorology degree, but I bit my tongue. "I'll handle it my way," I said, then went home and started my own research. Turns out the only things proven to redirect wind are skyscrapers in Chicago. My little wall, not even a blip. I printed 10 studies, highlighted every point that backed me up, and prepped for war. The next morning, Karen was already going door to door, handing out flyers about Daniel Miller's environmental vandalism, complete with a pixelated photo of my yard and red arrows drawn in paint. "Residents may experience air pattern disturbances until restitution is made," it said. I caught her at the mailbox. "You're distributing lies," I said. "It's community awareness," she sniffed. "We have to protect homeowners from side effects." "Like oxygen?" I asked. "Because I hear that's contagious." She just scoffed. "Mock all I wanted," she said, "but my structure was non-compliant. Starting today, $10,000 a day in fines until I took it down." That night, I called the county inspector. After laughing for 10 minutes straight, he agreed to come out. "Looks sturdy," he said, tapping the wall. "And it's legal. Unless your HOA now governs atmospheric physics, you're good." I grinned. "You don't know Karen." 2 days later, she filed an official grievance. Emergency board meeting. I showed up with a folder full of scientific articles. Karen stood at the front with a laser pointer showing blown-up charts with wind arrows. "This man's wall has created wind shear patterns affecting lawn debris trajectories," she declared. "What device did you use?" I asked. "Our consultant used a handheld anemometer." "Ah, the same one who installed your sprinklers backward last summer." People laughed. She scowled. "My hydrangeas have been leaning east since you built that monstrosity." "Maybe they're patriotic," I said. The laughter grew louder. Karen banged a gavel she'd brought from home. "You're in violation. Remove the wall in 10 days or face $10,000 per day fines." The board voted 4-1 for the motion. Only old Mrs. Reynolds voted for me, muttering, "This is nonsense." By morning, there was another flyer on my mailbox: wind zone hazard area. Do not approach without eye protection. The kids called my house the tornado factory. I leaned into it. Bought a weather vane, a windsock, put up a sign: "Caution wind experiments in progress." Karen nearly had a meltdown when she saw it. "You think this is funny?" she hissed. "Very," I said. 2 days later, a white SUV with atmospheric engineering consulting on the door rolled up. Out stepped a guy with a clipboard. "You Daniel Miller?" he asked. "Guilty. I've been hired to assess air displacement. Let me guess, by Mrs. Lutz." He just sighed. "You're not the first." He measured wind speeds for an hour. "Nothing abnormal," he said, "unless she's allergic to breezes." I paid him $20 for a report. Karen tore it up in front of me. "The HOA has authority beyond local contractors," she barked. "Oh," I said, "since when do you outrank the atmosphere?" That night, the first real gust of autumn wind swept through, scattering her flyers across the lawns. Not poetic justice yet, but close. 2 weeks later, a certified letter arrived. I owed $140,000 in accumulated fines. I laughed, then checked the bylaws. There it was. The association may impose reasonable daily fines. Reasonable? Sure. I called my lawyer, Greg, a bulldog in a Hawaiian shirt. He read the letter, snorted, and said, $10,000 a day for air currents. We'll hit them with a cease and desist. Make them prove wind is damage. The next morning, Greg filed notice. Karen went nuclear. Showed up on my driveway, flanked by board members. "You've escalated this," she snapped. "We have evidence. My patio umbrella snapped last week." "Maybe because it's October and you live in a wind corridor," I said. Greg stepped in. "Ms. Lutz, unless you show direct damage, these fines are baseless." She glared. "You'll regret this." Greg shrugged. "I already regret standing here." A week later, county inspectors arrived. Karen had reported an environmental crisis to the state. The lead inspector, Howard, grinned. "Sir, we got a complaint. Your wall is redirecting wind at destructive velocities." I almost lost it. "Destructive velocities?" I asked. "This isn't the Grand Canyon. They released smoke puffs, measured air." "Everything's normal," Howard said. "Wind speed consistent with baseline. Want that in writing?" "Yes, please." I posted the county's clearance on the neighborhood board with the headline, "Officially cleared of wind manipulation," plus a doodle of a superhero wall. Karen ripped it down, but the tide was turning. That weekend, my neighbor Alex stopped by. "Karen says your wall's changing humidity now," he laughed, making her hair frizz. We cracked up, but then I found a city engineer at my property clipboard in hand. "Unauthorized seismic modifications," he said sheepishly. "Your wall might affect ground vibration during storms. So my wall might cause earthquakes." He shrugged. "I just follow up on complaints." After he found nothing, I realized Karen had crossed into obsession. The next HOA meeting was wild. Karen strutted in like a 5-star general. "We have new evidence wind redirection has increased energy costs. HVACs are overcompensating. So my wall is attacking air conditioners now." I deadpanned. She powered through her slideshow. I pulled out the county's report. "You're accusing me of weather manipulation." "That's slander." Greg leaned in. "Tomorrow we file for harassment and defamation. You've cost my client over $100,000 in stress." For a second, Karen's mask slipped. Then she smiled tight, dangerous. "Fine. Let's involve the insurance board. We'll see what your property's worth when we declare it a hazard site." 2 nights later, my insurance agent called. "Daniel, HOA labeled your property as structurally non-compliant. It'll trigger a review. Your premium could spike." That was it. Greg and I filed for an injunction. We piled up every letter, every bogus fine, every report, plus evidence of Karen's flyers and posts. The case hit county court fast. For the first time, Karen looked nervous. That weekend, she emailed, "Let's resolve this amicably." I replied, "Let the judge decide." For the first time in months, the air felt still. No fines, no flyers, just breeze. But Karen never surrenders quietly. 9 days of peace, then vans labeled Aeroflow Environmental Consulting showed up. 4 techs set up tripods, weather sensors, industrial fans, even ran airflow simulations for 48 hours, blowing industrial fans at my house. Alex laughed. All she needs is a wizard hat. Afterward, Karen left a new letter. The damage report now claimed a 22% deviation, $2.3 million in extra costs. Greg wasn't laughing. She's building a paper trail, hoping a judge will force a settlement just to make it go away. So Greg subpoenaed the HOA's finances and the consultant's credentials. Karen panicked, called a board meeting right in front of my house, shouting, "We're under siege by an individual whose reckless construction has endangered our microclimate." Half the neighborhood rolled their eyes. Alex called out, "That's called gravity," and everyone cracked up. I watched Karen's authority crack finally. Then came the twist. An anonymous email, HOA president under investigation for misappropriation. Attached were transactions from the HOA account to a consulting firm, her brother-in-law's. Embezzlement. Greg filed it with the court. 48 hours later, Karen was hit with a county audit. When I saw her at the mailbox, her arrogance was gone. "You think this is over, don't you?" she muttered. "I think the wind's finally changing," I said. That night, she trespassed on my yard, measuring my wall-snapping photos. The next morning, I found Wind Thief spray-painted in red. I filed a police report. The neighborhood finally turned. The board called for an emergency election. Karen panicked, sent a 300-page community damage assessment to everyone, claiming I'd caused psychological distress by continuous turbulence. She was suing me for anxiety. Court day was a circus. Greg handed the judge our mountain of evidence, including the embezzlement. Karen's lawyer clung to their fiction. "This is about safety." Greg said, "This is about harassment and bureaucracy as a weapon." When the judge read his verdict, Karen went ghost pale. Case dismissed. HOA to reimburse my legal fees in full. Outside the courtroom, she hissed, "You'll regret this, Daniel." But it wasn't over. She vanished for days, then returned with a new scheme. She bought the abandoned lot behind my house under a new LLC, started quietly building again, this time turbines. "Sustainable energy research," she said when I asked. The hum grew, the frequency rattled my windows. Her obsession just evolved. Then lightning struck during a storm. Her turbines caught fire, smoke billowing. For the first time, Karen looked small, human, beaten. She didn't rebuild, just packed and left. Weeks later, I found a photo in my mailbox, her smiling beside a turbine with a note, "Maybe I tried too hard to control the wind. Maybe I just wanted to be part of it." And that's the story. Now, sometimes when the breeze brushes past my wall, I wonder if any of it was really about wind or just the feeling that you can shape something bigger than yourself. So what do you think? When does fighting for order become obsession? And when does standing up for yourself become the only way to breathe easy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your own stories. And let's talk about what justice really means, because out here the wind's free, but peace is something you've got to fight for.